just briefly tell you the next couple of meetings who we have coming to speak, so you'll know. At our next meeting, we're going to have Jennifer Sullivan speak with us. She's District 31 Florida House Representative. The following meeting, we're going to have Wallace Brushweiler. He's a counterterrorism and national security expert. And then on August 20th, we're going to have a forum for discussing the 1 cent sales tax that is coming up for referendum in November. We're going to put together a panel of people that are for it and people that are against it, so people can get the idea of both sides of that issue. All right, let me tell you about our speaker tonight. Blaise Ingoglia was born in Queens, New York. In 1996, looking to start a business, he moved to Hernando County, Florida, where he used his marketing skills to start and grow multiple businesses into successful operations. He is the founder and CEO of Heartland Homes, a home building company based in Spring Hill. He also owns a marketing company and a software company. In 2007, with an idea to combine political speech and motivational speech, he created The Government Gone Wild. I think Vance was wearing one of those shirts the other day. Now he's got a government something. Government Gone Wild, a series of live seminars and internet videos that highlight unsustainable federal spending and the dangers of big government. His informational videos have almost 8 million views on YouTube and have been featured on the Drudge Report and praised by Fox News analyst Dan Mitchell. He is currently a member of the Florida House of Representatives, serving the people of District 35. He sits on the Economic Affairs, Government Operations, Appropriations, and Veterans Affairs Committees. And one of the main reasons we wanted him here tonight, he also serves as chairman of the Republican Party of Florida. So with that, no further ado, I'll bring up Blaise.
Thank you guys. How was everybody this evening?
Awesome.
That was a little bit too lame for me to try to get. How was everybody this evening? That was still horrible. One more time or I'm out of here. How was everybody this evening? Awesome. It is a pleasure to be with you here this evening. We have a lot of very exciting news, and I'm excited for the Republican Party of Florida going forward. But first, before we start, just a couple of things. I do want to recognize some people in the room who have really made a difference in the Republican Party and the Florida legislature. Our chairman, Mike Levine, is here. Chairman, thank you for everything that you do. Mr. Alan Winslow in the back. Alan, thank you for everything that you do. Our good representative back there, Representative Metz, who's a great friend, and you have a great ally in the Florida House. Representative, thank you for everything that you do. And then Representative Sullivan could not be here today. I actually spoke to her earlier today. Another great, outstanding young member of the Florida House. We are blessed, and we are all, and you should be especially proud of the representative for the things that she's doing in the Florida House. Now, if people, you guys have pens? All right, for everyone that have pens, I want you to write this down. And we're gonna go over this in a couple of minutes, and no, there will not be a test, so that you don't have to worry about it. I want everybody to write down Florida.gop. I'm gonna go over this with you later, and if I don't, please remind me and I'll explain what it is. Now, the first thing I want you to recognize that it's a .gop, it is not a .com or a .org. This is the party's new website, and I want everybody in this room this evening to go on that website and sign up. And this is going to be important, because one of the things that we have to do in the party is we have to do a better job with digital outreach, getting our information across to voters. So hold that thought. With that, you know, the Supreme Court has been issuing rulings this week, and a lot of those rulings were not very taken well, especially by us conservatives. And there's one ruling that came out that I don't think the people in this room are going to like very much. It really hasn't gotten much play, but here it is. You may not be aware, but the Supreme Court has ruled that we are no longer allowed to have a nativity scene nor a Christmas tree in our nation's capital. Now, this is not for any religious reasons. They just couldn't find 3 wise men in D.C. Now, a search for a virgin continues. But they did, however, find more than enough asses to fill that stable. There is nothing more important to the future of this great nation than to fix a broken Washington, D.C. And the way you do that is we must take back the White House in 2016. And the way we do that is we, the people in this room, us, our friends, our family, our neighbors, our co-workers, we must deliver this great state of Florida to the Republican nominee. Because he or she cannot win the presidency without winning this state. Now, what we are going to embark upon in the next 16, 17 months is not the start of a campaign, my friends. This is the start of a cause to take back our federal government. And it starts today. Now, unfortunately, we lost the last 2 presidential elections in 2008 and 2012. And you will hear people on TV all the time try to tell us the reasons why we lost those elections. They will say that we did a poor job reaching out to women voters, black voters, Jewish voters. They say we did a poor job reaching out to Hispanic voters. But I'm here today as the chairman of the Republican Party of Florida to tell you that there is only one demographic that we can blame for any Republican loss. Us. That's it. I am a firm believer that Democrats do not win elections. We as Republicans, we lose elections. Now, the only way that we can go forward as a party is that if we take a long, hard look at the things that we have done wrong in the past and have the courage to own up and say that we've made some mistakes and fix those mistakes going forward. Because the true test of any organization's strength is not whether we win or we lose, but it's how we respond after a loss. Do we sit there and sulk and say, woe is me? Or do we stand up, dust ourselves off, and continue moving forward? Now, in order to move forward, we as a Republican Party must recognize 3 truths. And I'm going to go over these truths with you right now. The first thing that we must recognize is whether we like it or not, Barack Obama has changed the way we campaign. The way we used to campaign before certainly is not the way we campaign now. And campaigning, because of technology, will shift from election cycle to election cycle, and it is going to be up to us to identify how we reach those 25 to 45 age demographic in order to get our message in front of them. Because the way we used to do it, which was getting up on TV or putting ads in the paper, that doesn't work. Truth number 1 is this, is that we must recognize now, because of technology, that politics and campaigning is an ever-changing landscape, shifting from election cycle to election cycle, even quicker than that. Truth number 2 is this, is that we as a party have not changed the way we campaigned since the 1980s, since Ronald Reagan was in office. We're doing the same things today that we did in the 1980s. And it was putting ads on TV, it was sending out direct mail, and spending tons of money. Now, we know that tons of money helps in elections, but it is not the thing that decides elections. The things that decide elections and will decide this next election is grassroots. It's boots on the ground. Us talking to our friends, our family, and our neighbors and getting them out to vote. It's the way we used to do it. We stopped doing it. we have relied, in my opinion, way too much on wholesale campaigning and not enough retail campaigning. But another big difference is that technology. In 2008 and 2012, the Democrats had much better technology than we had. They were able to communicate their message much more effectively because of their technology. So while we were sending people direct mail pieces, and we were putting ads on TV, the Democrats were micro-targeting you, your friends, your family, your neighbors, and your children, and their friends by social media, and computers, and apps on their phone. Social media networks, such as Facebook, Twitter, now Vine, Instagram, Snapchat. Truth number 2 is this, is that we have been effectively campaigning with VCRs in an iPod world, and that has got to change. Truth number 3 is this, is that the parties, unfortunately, both parties, have become overrun by special interest lobbyists and consultants.
Absolutely.
And the consultants, now let me say this, there are some consultants which are very, very, very good at their job, and they care about the future of this nation. My consultant, I went through a very vigorous vetting process before I chose my consultant. I wanted somebody who was going to work extremely hard to help me get elected, not because they were making money, but because they believed in what I was going to bring to the Florida House. Truth number 3 is this, that some consultants, unfortunately, care more about their paychecks and their pocketbooks than getting this nation back on track. And in the process, they are running this party into the ground, and they are watering down our message, and that has to stop. Because we have the best message. The Republican Party, we have the best message of smaller, less intrusive government, lower taxes, more personal freedom, the focus on the family, the focus on small businesses. We in the Republican Party do not need to change our message. We need to change the way we deliver that message. We in the Republican Party do not have a message problem. We have a marketing problem. And once we solve that, the party and our nation will be much better off. Now you see, the Democrats, they do a much better job at marketing their message. As dangerous as a message we think that is to the fabric of this nation, they do a wonderful job messaging. And in the process, they are turning us into the divided states of America, pitting one class of voter up against another class of voter. White voters versus black voters versus Latino voters, men versus women, 1% versus 99%, the states versus the federal government, Wall Street versus Main Street. And they are marketing this utopian message that we will surely never achieve, and worse yet, this nation will go bankrupt trying to achieve it. You see, the Democrat message of today is nothing more than a late night infomercial. It's an emotional bomb. Hey, vote for me, and I'm going to give you free housing. Vote for me, and I'm going to give you free phones. Vote for me, and I'm going to give. Now, you know that old saying, right? Give a man a fish, and he eats for a day. Teach a man how to fish, and he... No, you take away a Democrat voter, I'm just saying. So the question of the day, the things that we need to ask ourselves, our friends, our family, our neighbors, and most importantly our community is this, is that would we, as a society, rather leave our children and our grandchildren with the institutional knowledge of how to succeed and the secrets of upward mobility and self-reliance, or would we rather teach them what the Democrats have in store for them, which is setting up future generations for failure and government reliance? See, I don't know about you, but I do not know of any African American, any Hispanic, any Jew, or any single mom that would knowingly choose government dependence for their children over self-reliance. You see, the tragedy of the lower and the middle class is they have not yet connected the dots. They cannot see the correlation between the people that they vote for and they put in office and their own lack of success and their own lack of upward mobility. And that should be our message. But in marketing that message, we as the Republican Party, we as people who care about the future of this nation, we need to be smart when it comes to elections. Because for way too long, we haven't been smart when it comes to elections. We need to think about the outcome with these elections. So let me ask you this question. Would we, as the Republican Party, would we choose as our nominee someone who goes out there and raises taxes on his or her citizens? Would we? Would we, as the Republican Party, would we go out there and choose as our Republican nominee someone who would give amnesty to millions of illegal immigrants? Would we? Would we, as the Republican Party, would we go out there and choose as our Republican nominee the president of a union? Would we? Well, then we would have never, ever chosen the greatest president this nation has ever known in Ronald Reagan. We need to think when it comes to elections. Ronald Reagan famously said that if you agree with me 80% of the time, I consider you a friend. The problem that we have in the Republican Party and Republican circles and the people who truly care about this is the other 20% sit back and they throw bombs. And they start eviscerating and fighting amongst ourselves. That has got to stop. We have got to stop being the party of fury. Because what would you rather have? Would you rather have the weakest of any of our presidential candidates running for office right now, or Hillary Clinton? No. But what happens is what's worse than them throwing bombs and attacking our own Republican nominees, the 20% who doesn't agree with us 100% of the time, a lot of them are staying home on election day. So when we look at the 2012 election or the 2008, and I'm going to say 2012 more than 2008, because in 2012 we had the opportunity to get Barack Obama out of office. And we lost that election. Why? Because way too many of us stood home because they could not vote for Mitt Romney for one reason or another. So when I come across those people, I say that you are the people who elected Barack Obama, not the people who voted for Mitt Romney. If you stay home, don't complain. Get out to the polls and vote. One of the biggest issues to the Republican Party, which then becomes one of the biggest threats to the Republican Party. And without a vibrant opposition party going on, what's going on in DC right now, it will then become the biggest threat to this nation is this, one-issue voters. We have way too many one-issue voters on our side. Way too many. People who won't vote, who will stay home. Now what we need to do is we need to adopt the progressives or the liberals' mentality when it comes to elections. Now, mind you, I didn't say the progressives or liberals' policies, just their mentality when it comes to campaigning and elections and how they look at elections. And let me explain. A liberal or progressive looks at every election as an opportunity. So they will go out and, let's say for argument's sake, that they look for 10 things that they want. And let's say that a liberal does not get all 10 things, but they get 3. They're doing backflips, they're high-fiving each other, and they're throwing parties. Why? Because they got 3 more things than they had yesterday. Now, Republicans, what do? We sit there and we ask for 10 things, and if we do not get all 10 things, we throw our hands up in the air and we say, you know, I forget it, they're not worth it. I hate that guy, he's a rhino. Or I'm not coming out to vote, forget it, they can get what they deserve. That's why we lose elections. We're not going to get this nation back in one election cycle. It is going to be thoughtful, it is going to be methodical, and it has to happen over several election cycles. We need to start looking at elections as an opportunity to get where we want. Nobody said that we're going to get to where we want to be overnight. Because if it was that easy, we would have done it already. We need to be thoughtful, and we need to continue on this course. Now, there is nothing that I dislike more than big government liberals who are bankrupting this nation. And our number one job in 2016 is to stop Hillary Clinton from getting the White House. Because if she gets in office, the federal government will continue to grow and grow and grow. And then the risk to our prosperity and our children's prosperity and what we could be will vanish. They will continue growing government. Now, I will tell you right now of a cool little quote. And most times when people get up here and they make political speeches, they're quoting Jefferson, they're quoting Abraham Lincoln, they're quoting Reagan. I am going to quote Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said that any intelligent fool can make things bigger and more complex. But it takes a real touch of genius and a whole lot of courage to move things in the opposite direction. Now, the bad news is that the past elections were in our hands. But the good news, my friends, is that future elections are also in our hands. We as a party are only confined by the walls that we build ourselves. The only thing holding this party back is us. So we have a choice to make. We can choose to come together, everyone in the same boat, rowing in the same direction for the same common cause, or we can choose to have Hillary Clinton as our next president and have Barack Obama 3.0. That choice is not up to anybody else, that choice is up to us. So let us resolve today to take a stand that we will go out there as one cohesive unit to market our message that Republicans, we believe in the success and the opportunity of every individual. And together, we can create those opportunities for our friends, our families, our neighbors, our communities, our state, and this nation. And when we do, we will finally return this nation back to the United States of America. Over the next 16, 17 months, we need to go out there and show why we are the GOP, the Grand Opportunity Party, because that's what we are about, opportunity for all. So, questions. Are you tired of big government?
Yes.
Are you tired of losing presidential elections?
Yes.
Are you ready, really ready, to finally take this country back in 2016?
Yes.
Then, let's show a little bit of genius and a whole lot of courage and move this party and this nation in the opposite direction. The future of our party can no longer wait. The future of our party needs to start right now. I thank you for everything that you have ever done for the Republican Party and the conservative cause, and I will stand here and thank you in advance for everything that you will do for the Republican Party and the conservative cause. May God bless you, may God bless your families, and may God bless the greatest republic this world has ever known, the United States of America. Guys, thank you for inviting me and having me here. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Guys, thank you. Questions?
I'd like to make an observation or a question, whatever.
Okay, so here's the rule. $20 for observations, $5 for questions. So it's 4 times more expensive to make an observation. And actually, if I just may, let me go over Florida.gop for you before I forget. So what we need to do is we really need to expand our presence digitally. Because one of our challenges is age demographics, right? So the 25 to 45 age demographics, we need to do a better job of reaching out to them. Now, the people in this room a certain age, just like me, we like reading papers. Me, not so much anymore, because I got the Tampa Bay Times where I'm at. But we need to do a better job of reaching the 25 to 45 age demographic, because they consume their information a lot differently than the way we used to do it. And they're doing it now over the internet, social media. This is a no excuse thing, I'm gonna tell you right now. Everyone, how many here have an email? Okay, how many here have an account on Facebook? Good. If I would have said that 2 cycles ago, half of the people would not have Facebook, which is good. I want everyone here to go into florida.gop when you get home, and I want you to sign up, okay? Because normal websites, they're out there to get information out to the masses. What we need to do is we need to start using the website to get information on voters and then spread our message online, and that is what our website does. So when you sign up at Florida GOP, you will get sort of a tracking code, not NSA tracking, we're not gonna know what you're shopping. But you can go now online and recruit your friends and your family and your neighbors online. So if you create that account on florida.gop, you can then share it on Facebook, and then let's say your brother who lives in Jacksonville signs up. You're gonna get credit for signing that person up. But that's some of the things that we need to do, and there's an action center on there. You can sign petitions telling Congress to secure the borders before we doing anything with immigration reform. You can sign a petition that says balanced budget. You can sign a petition saying that I stand against Hillary Clinton. When you go on there, I want you to just navigate around the website. This will be an important tool. You can volunteer, and I will tell you, this website's been up for, I don't know, 2 months, and we really not into campaign system. Since the website has been up, we have already almost 600 volunteers listed who have volunteered on the website, boots on the ground for the 2016 election. My goal is by the time we get around to election time, 30,000 people will sign up on that website, because that's the stuff that wins elections. So go on that website, please, sign up. Be involved with our online community, because I cannot tell you how important it is. This is how important it is. We lost the presidential election in 2012 by 74,000 votes. 74,000 votes for Barack Obama's second term. We can make that up, but we're not going to make it up by putting it on TV, on radio, and in direct mail. That's not going to make the difference. Why? Because we own that already. We already have that. We have to make it up in ways. The Democrats have been doing it. And online digital presence is one of the ways they've been doing it. So we can solve our own problems by getting involved in the Florida.gop online community. Because there are people in this room, and your friends and your families, they don't want to donate money to the cause. I get it. They don't want to walk doors because it's tiresome. I get it. They don't want to make phone calls because the prospect of somebody hanging up or yelling at you, I get it. But when we put out something on Facebook, or if we email you something and we ask you to forward it to your friends, if you are not willing to click share on Facebook, or if you are not willing to forward an email to your friends, then what will you do for the Republican Party and conservative cause? If that's all we're asking for you to do now, that's not a heavy lift. So please go on there and sign.